housing, I would like to ask the housing group and one representative of the housing group to step forward and to present their project. Please step forward, housing group. Dear Mayor, dear Advisory Board, can I ask you please to step forward because this is where you're supposed to be. Yes. Could you please sit in the middle again? I didn't notice. Yeah. Please come, step forward. Don't be shy.
Just use the one there.
All right.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sylvia Winkler. I'm the representative of the housing group. Here you see my colleagues. And now I'm going to present to you our plans for this area. We talked about urgency this morning. And what is more urgent than housing? You know, everybody knows that Tel Aviv is getting much too expensive for many people. Many people are moving to the...
The mayor is not listening.
I'm listening, I'm listening.
The mayor was sitting with the community group before I saw it.
I wasn't doing anything.
He's the voice of the community. She's just twittering. What's going on?
You know, I'm the mayor, I'm very busy, I have to multitask.
But you as a mayor should know that housing is really urgent.
I know, you're totally right, but I have to multitask, you have to understand.
Well, I hope you multitask in my direction. And now we are here in Jesse, which is already a residential district. So what is more logic to this area than to develop a new housing project? Me and my group, we want to create a project for everybody, for all citizens. It's based on the local strengths and it will strengthen the community further. It's for the people who are already here as well as for the new inhabitants who will come in. The name of the project is Aviv Achadasha. I hope I pronounce it right. Yes, my local partner here is saying okay. Which borrows the Aviv from Tel Aviv. For the non-Hebrew speakers here, it's the new spring. The spring which brings the flowers to blossom, which makes nature waking up. It's the new start. It's the coming future of this area. It will create a new identity for the neighborhood. And it will remove also the stigma for this neighborhood. We want to change the name slowly, that it's not Jesse Cohen anymore, but the Aviv Achadasha, the future. Together with the Digital Art Center, which already did a lot of work in this area, and together with the Commercial Center, here very near, it will be the new hub for the area. From here, the new neighborhood can develop. Let me talk about resources. So I already mentioned it's already a neighborhood, it's already a residential district. There is a perfect public transport here with the train going to Tel Aviv, with the very close station, with the bus system, and also for the more individualistic travelers with the highway. And also, I again want to mention the Digital Art Center as an artistic hub, as a socio-cultural center, and with whom we really would like to collaborate a lot.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. So here you see our first sketch. You see the residential park, the name, the new spring, and the rough outlining of the project.
Yes.
So coming back to the idea of the project for all citizens, I want to describe the plan more into detail. There will be several buildings on this very big plot. We think about 7 to 10 single buildings, and they all will provide a high quality living space for people from all walks of life. Underneath the buildings, or maybe the buildings, so you, sorry. The buildings you see here, they are built on pillars, and then you have the residential area. Underneath the buildings there is the river Ayalon flowing. That's here, many of you might not know that there was a river before, and we want to reanimate this river. It will be a very shallow water, it will be clear and clean. It will not be dangerous to children because it's only at this level, but it will create a more cooling atmosphere, more vivid and cleanness. Around there is a green park, and this park will not have any fence. There will be no borders. It's a park for everybody around. And we want to create an atmosphere that is more transparent to the other housing estates in the area. Everybody is welcome here. In the park, there are several pavilions which will be given for communal use. It's space that is given to the municipality. So there will be a library, there will be childcare, there will be a house for the elderly, and there will be a Swan Cafe, a coffee bar. And there will be a butterfly garden. We also will create a taxi stand and a bus station. On top of the buildings, there will be a park, a garden for the residents of these buildings, and this park, the single buildings, are connected by bridges from one building to the other so that the residents have a big garden on top. There will be also bridges across the new Ayalon River. Drawing on the rich history of the Bauhaus architecture in this area, we will include Bauhaus elements into the architecture. And also it will be green buildings. They will be sustainable and not energy consuming. There will be a car-free zone. So we want to use all the ground for space, all the surface for garden and not for cars. There will be underground parking and it will be a car-free surface. There will be different entrances from the underground and from the street level into the buildings. And of course then there will be elevators and stairs for the inhabitants to go up. There will be a shuttle bus to the airport, if you want to know this. From here, from the bus station. And the developer, that means we also want to invest in the renovation of the facades of the building around to create a really beautiful and livable atmosphere for all the inhabitants. The building will have 8 floors, so in this that we still can consider what the famous urbanist Jane Jacobs always emphasized on, the eyes on the street level. So there is still this connection between the ground level and the inhabitant who looks outside of this window. That will create a more livable, a more vivid, and also a more secure surrounding. In total, we will create 350 apartments. That means, and now I come to the economic side of the project, and if we calculate the municipal fee that will be paid by each unit with around 7,000 shekel, that means 2.5 million shekel each year on municipality fees, which go directly to the community. That means we also give a reward to the community. The 350 apartments, they will accommodate approximately 1,600 new citizens, and this will create, on the one hand, new jobs to the area, and on the other hand, it will also foster the commercial center, which is already here. As it is a big project, and as the area around has a lot of potential for further development, it is very attractive for investors, and I have to say that we are already in communication with several pension funds to invest in the project. That means that no public money will be involved in the construction. Through the upgrading of the area through our project, more similar projects will follow, and this will give an additional reward to the community and to the area. For the time frame, we calculate with 3 to 5 years until the first inhabitants can move in, and then also the ground part will be finished and will be accessible for the community who is already living here and for the new inhabitants. So to come to a conclusion, I just can say that we would like to integrate all resources in this area, all groups and everybody, also our combatants here, the community group, to develop a livable and high quality area. Thank you.
Very nice. Very nice.
Are there any questions from your side?
You did very nice. This was an idea we already had. It's very good.
Well, I'm happy that we are on one line in this case.
Yes, definitely, definitely.
Thank you.
Wow, okay, dear community, do we have any questions to the housing project? Some critical comments, maybe?
I have a question.
I might have some. Yeah, you have some. Okay, please.
I have a microphone. So I think the area is already used, I think, just for housing. And what the problem about this area is that nobody wants to live here except coming here for sleeping. So don't you think we have already enough of housing and need more space for the public living?
Maybe the housing group can answer this question.
I want to say that the Holon city has too many museums and has lots of public institutions. And more public institutions is not logical, not even economically logical, but also on the private level, it won't give better services to the citizens, to the inhabitants of the neighborhood.
I also would like to emphasize on the park we will create.
Another part.
But it's private park.
Okay, here's another question.
It's private, it's accessible.
No, the park on the ground level is open for everybody, it's public park. That's the residential.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, is there another question? Yes, Lucas, please go ahead.
What is the percentage of penthouses and open houses? Oh, okay. Okay, then the second question is not important.
Okay, yeah, I have a question also from behalf of the municipality and on behalf of the citizens. How are you going to secure that with these new buildings, rents are not going to go up to a point that the citizens living here right now will not be able to live here anymore? Yeah, I know. I'm from I'm advisor. Yes, I would, yeah.
It's very simple to answer. First of all, the first inhabitants that will come in are citizens from the neighborhood, which means that it will improve very much the living conditions. Second, so the first answer means that they don't have to rent anything. They get it free. Second thing is that those people that with the newcomers, the new inhabitants that coming from other places to live there would enrich the whole neighborhood. We will bring more facilities, we will bring more knowledge, we will bring more activity, we will bring more merchandise possibilities, we will bring more professions inside. Everybody is going to gain from it.
It sounds like music. Okay, thank you very much, housing group. I think we're going to move on. And some applause for the housing group. And I would like to ask the communal use, the communal group to step forward and to present their claim.
So, hello everybody. Yeah, we were thinking about what this community lacks, and it's a public place that is used by the people. There are many public places that are not used, and we think there has to be a place where the people who use it also run it. So we made a sketch. Maybe you can.
The first idea was that it's a sustainable place where you have wind wheel and solar panels, and you could also have your sheep eating between it, and the money who comes out of the profit can be used for community purpose and for building houses and different other stuff. Yes, this was one of the first ideas, and then it developed to other thing. I give it to you, Robert.
This answers already what we think about the housing, what we said before. It's a housing area, so we don't need any more houses. We have a lot of different people coming from different immigrants that already came here in the past. So what is missing, we thought about what is missing in this community. So go on here. We asked the people what they need, and already we have here the Digital Art Center, and then we thought they like to play the young people like to play football, they like to play basketball, and it should be a place not only for young people but also for all ages. So you want to meet, so you need a cafe place. It's in the middle here. Then we thought about a place for skating and also a place for graffiti. So and a place for bicycling, a place for gardening, or maybe for older people on the left. So and what Red already said is that the community doesn't have a lot of money. So we want to, what's next? So what we think the community should gain money, and this is also what we thought is that people should have a place where they can identify, a place where they are proud of, a place that is an attraction, so other people come to the place. I mean, everyone goes to Tel Aviv. No one is going to Cologne, only we do, and the people that live here. So what you need is a symbol or a huge attraction, and at the same time it could be something that provides energy for the community, and the community can gain money of it. Here people can, young people can move, can go there with their bicycles, skate, and so on.
Maybe we go further with the... okay, now we have the interviews. Okay,
yeah.
Fine.
First of all, I would like to mention that big promises come with big money, and the beautiful renderings we've seen before are usually not coming into reality. So we would like to take this course into real level, real people. It's our children's future that we're talking about. So I've interviewed a young man from this neighborhood whose frustration is very clear.
אבל שמתאים לכם, לא לילדים קטנים. בוא, שמות העיר, אני רוצה שמות יששון, אני מוכן. לקחת את מות יששון. אני מוכן להגיד מות יששון, יום שבת אחד לפה. כן? במקום שיהיה עם חברה שלו בת 27 בבית המסכן הזה. שיבוא לפה. יראה כמה יושבים פה על מגרש כזה קטן, שאין פה אפילו 100 מטר. שיראה את המגרש הזה, שיראה שיושבים פה 50 ילד, יושבים פה על הגדרות, כן? ומשחקים כדורגל בצפיפות, במקום שיבטא פה מגרש נורמלי. או, מגרש כדורגל. מגרש כדורגל נורמלי, כן, אז אני כזה. יושבים פה 50 ילד כל שבת יש פה 50 ילד שמשחקים כדורגל, חבר'ה שחקנים רציניים שיכולים להציל את הכדורגל הישראלי המפגר שיש פה, רק בגלל שערים שונות כל ילדים שם. ושהם פה שירה, ואני חושב לי איזה
Strong words, I would say.
So, that was the voice of the youth. So, we decided to focus on what the youth needs. So, since the soccer field is already here, we saw that many of them are using this e-bikes. E-bikes are huge in Holon and Tel Aviv. And since electricity is very, very expensive, we have to, we want to provide a station to load them. And in the meantime, the young people can sit, drink a coffee, smoke a cigarette, and and all the electricity is coming from here, so it doesn't cost anything. And
what's about alcohol?
Alcohol is it depends on the people who run that place, because the users run that place, and if they are into alcohol, I'm sure there will be alcohol. So, which brings us to the next slide. Container bar. I don't know who was the expert in the container bar. Because the problem is very urgent, and a container can be here tomorrow.
And then you change it.
So we don't lose any time?
Yeah, it's in constant development. It can always be changed.
Is there effect?
Of course. You see the example picture we produced today. So I think it's a very nice place. And it can also be like another way it could look like, would be like this. That's it's a wave. You can also go over it with an e-bike or with a skateboard, and you can also sit inside here and have a coffee and a cigarette. So I think that's it.
Great. So some applause, please, for the community. there? I think so. Is there a microphone somewhere nearby? Because mine is so short.
The microphone.
Do you have a microphone somewhere?
No, they have one. They have one.
You have a microphone somewhere? Yeah.
פה בחולון יש את כל המקומות האלה, וגם אפילו במרכז פה ניסו פעם לעשות ברסות והכל אחרי יומיים, בגלל הסמים, אני יודעת מה לקחו שם. אני חושבת שזה לא יעבוד הדברים האלה, לפי דעתי. כי יש הרבה מקומות, יש פארק פרס, יש החלקה על קרח, יש זה. וגם אנשים לא יבואו לפה, כי יש להם במרכז העיר, את כל האירועים שם. זה מה שאני חושבת.
So, but another remark that Jesse Cohen, according to the official statistics, it's the less condensed area in all the quarters of Holon. Mrs. Mayor? What? Jesse Cohen is the most less condensed quarter in all Holon, which means that the argument that we don't need more apartments or no more buildings in Jesse Cohen is incorrect completely.
Yes, but I have to say, you need an attraction that people want to live here. So if you want people to live here, you need some kind of entertainment, and that's providing this bar where there will be music, and those hotspots is the first step before we build housing.
Let me tell you, okay? Let me tell you first.
No, I want to... Can I please ask?
I'm speaking, excuse me, I'm speaking. Excuse me. I want to tell you, before I came here, there was nothing here. And then, when I came, I did three things. One, I had a look at my staff, and there was a conversation, and I told them, if you don't want to be here, if you don't feel the energy, you have to go. If you feel the energy, you have to stay. And the second thing is, I made it beautiful. And the third thing, what was the third thing that we did? To fill it with events. To fill it with events. To always have something happening.
Yeah, but
so,
as you said,
excuse me, I'm speaking. Excuse me, mister. What I'm trying to say is that before I came here, there was, no, I want to hear, you want to hear me. That's what you want to do. Trust me, you want to hear what I have to say.
You don't want to hear to the people.
No, I want to hear you after you hear me, okay? So, I think this is very nice. I think you are very right. It's a very interesting idea. We had this idea like 5 years ago. Something like this. I want to marry you.
Already married.
But really, now the time is very short and we have to move to the next group. It's
no, but I have to say one last thing. There are all the nice things you did, but the problem is you did it.
Excuse me.
And
it's
now
just that you're not here.
This is the only place where the people organize themselves.
It's very shame you don't listen, because then maybe we could talk.
אדון ראש העיר, אני רוצה להגיד משהו. אדון ראש העיר.
Okay, wonderful.
אדון ראש העיר, אני רוצה להגיד משהו. ראש העיר. ראש העיר, אפשר להגיד משהו.
We are going to continue. Yeah, we can have a after the third presentation, every group can have one final sentence in favor of their project, and then we're going to make a decision. But please stay calm. Stay calm. Please, if I may ask you to move from the stage.
One last thing, Mayor.
No, I'm sorry. You will have last. You will have. Yes,
for you.
Okay, we heard. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you. Would you please leave the stage now? Please leave the stage. Thank you very much. Please, the commercial group, step forward.
I'm very happy that everyone's here, and I just want to give my respect to the other groups. I really enjoyed your ideas and concepts. It was just great. And as the housing, yes, like as the community just read, there was no more housing needed, according to the very well researched arguments. And then as we figured out in very close to the urban planners, which are locally set here, and in some beautiful sessions we had with the citizens, we're very proud as the Jessy Beautification Center to present that project called Jessy Small.
They make nice.
Jessy Small? Jessy Small for you.
Jessy Small? Small.
I'm sure there are still some questions out there. Maybe the housing group or the communal group have some questions towards the commercial group. Yes. Do you have a microphone over there? Yes.
We, the housing group, we think it's too many malls already. So it's just like a marriage of entertainment and like shopping. It's nothing about culture and decent way of living. It's this is our criticism.
מה שאני רוצה להגיד, שבעבר היה מרכז, והיה בו כל מיני בתי קולנוע ובתי שעשועים והכל, ולאט לאט נהרס במקום להתקדם. אז אני לא חושבת שזה מתאים. יש הרבה, וליד הבתים שפה, שאנחנו רוצים לבנות את הבתים, אז יש כבר גם מרכז מסחרי, שעוד מעט נגמר בקרוב, הבנייה תיגמר.
Who's going, Mr. Mayor, Mrs. Mayor. Oh, thank you.
Wow.
Who is going to use?
It's Miss.
Sorry, Miss. It's Miss. Excuse me. Who is going? This mall is going to serve whom exactly?
What?
The mall is going to serve the inhabitants of the place.
I can't tell you.
No, it's going to serve other people, but we have to solve or revive the neighborhood.
I can't tell you.
You can't. I tell you. What do you mean?
Well, I also would like to ask the commercial group if they have noticed that there are already little businesses in the area and if they have made a calculation on the effects of such a big mall on the local businesses. That's the one point. And the other one is that always a big mall brings in a lot more traffic in the neighborhood. Did you also think about that?
I'm very happy that you mentioned it actually, because of course we invited all the people from the commercial center, which is already existing, to participate in the planning and of course in the shops which will be in the commercial center at some level. You know,
even more, I mean, there will be even more, no? Even more people now have to struggle to having the need to leave their neighborhood, or finally have the ability to work here, to have a job there, and to be more with them, having more time with their family. No, I mean it's just an arise of more life quality.
Will they own the shops though?
So you mean they have a...
Who is the owner of the
Who
shop?
owns the shop?
Me.
Excuse me, I have to go to another meeting, so this has to finish very fast. I want to, this is a democracy. This is a democracy. So we're gonna, don't take me out of character, Willie. We're gonna vote, because this is a democracy. We're gonna, maybe Mathias.
You have to say opinion poll. It's
no,
not
yeah, you do it.
Oh yeah, okay, so we're gonna have an opinion poll with our citizens. It's not a vote, I'm sorry. It's an opinion poll. I want to get some. So I would like to ask our citizens, please, you're not allowed to vote, but our citizens who are all here who've come to our town hall meeting, our dear citizens, please raise your hand now for the housing project. Sorry, we cannot count, but yeah, you have to put your hands down so I can count. Okay, please, up again, one second. 1, 2, 3, I see 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I think we've got 6 votes all together. 6 votes for in our opinion poll. So, please raise your hands now for the communal use. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 votes. Okay, this is a close one. And now, finally, raise your hand for the commercial use. 1, 2, 3, 4. I see 4, 5, 5. Okay, shareholder from Italy.
Okay,
so we have
I want to say something. I think this is a democracy. We all vote in different ways, but the right thing to do when you are a kind and smart ruler like I am is to combine. All of your ideas are very nice and very pretty, and we all had them before. So right now we're at the place where we know all these ideas already, and we can combine them, right? So what we're gonna do?
Yeah, okay, quickly. So yeah, we're gonna combine everything. It's all under one roof. we're going to have an entire quarter. We're going to develop a whole quarter of commercial use, of housing, and some communal use. It'll be co-financing each other, and everybody will be happy.
Sorry.
Okay, so thank you very much for attending the town hall meeting. Thank you very much.